Now, this year has belonged to Jannik Sinner so far, steadily threatening the top spot. That job was a Spaniard's at least till last year. When Carlos Alcaraz burst onto the scene, he blew everyone away. With his sheer raw pace, his talent, he reminded everyone of Rafael Nadal, but just a version 2.0. And after the highs of Wimbledon, many believed he would continue on that path. At 20, the Spaniard, in fact, had won 2 Grand Slam titles already, so there is so much promise. But the last few months have seen an unusual slump in his career, from winning trophies to crashing out early in tournaments. And now sidelined with an injury, it doesn't get any pretty for Carlos Alcaraz. We try to decode here what's gone amiss with him and his game.
Carlos Alcaraz, who was touted for bigger things, finds himself in uncharted territory. From experiencing the highs of Grand Slam wins to now struggling to reach the final hurdle, let alone win it, it's been a very tough last few months for the Spaniard. Not too long ago, he was considered the next big thing, was even compared to the likes of Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. And the accolades weren't just based on the results, but also his on-field demeanour, his attitude. All of that seems to have changed. Being raised in Spain, the obvious assumption is that, like his very established predecessor, Alcaraz would be most comfortable on clay. But he turned that perception on its head when he won 2 Grand Slams across 2 different surfaces, not clay. In 2022, he pocketed the US Open. And then came the big one, beating Novak Djokovic at the 2023 Wimbledon final. This should have just guaranteed an upward trajectory. A Grand Slam win over the best can completely change your world, the way you play, your intensity. But that's not what happened with Carlos. Alcaraz seems to have lost his steam since that memorable Wimbledon win. And these facts ought to stun you. Alcaraz has not won an ATP title, let alone a slam, since Wimbledon 2023. That's July, 7 months ago. And what's worse, he has not made it to an ATP event final since his appearance at the Cincinnati Masters final in August 6 months ago. If that's not a slump, we don't know what is. And 2024 didn't start off too well for him either. Alcaraz was unable to defend his Argentina Open title, and a few days later walked out of the Rio Open due to an injury.
I spoke with the physiotherapist on the code, and we decided together that I would continue to see if it improved. It didn't, so we preferred to be careful and withdraw as a precaution. It wasn't a problem with the code. I got hurt in a change of direction, and that happens on this type of surface.
If the injury layoff and the losses are not enough, the fact that Alcaraz parted ways with his coach can only be the final blow. Juan Carlos Ferrero, a former tennis player himself, has not been a part of the team owing to health issues of his own. And clearly, that ought to impact the mind space of any sports person. You draw inspiration from your support system, and not having that in your corner can also pull you down. And then there is Jannik Sinner snapping at his heels. The growing rivalry between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner has resulted in 3 enthralling chapters in 2023. Sinner won 2 of them, and that included Miami and Beijing ATP events. Sinner has a 4-3 advantage over Alcaraz overall. If Alcaraz is crashing out early from the tournament, it's his rival Sinner who's grabbing the spotlight. First for winning the Australian Open, and then for winning the Rotterdam Open. So the pressure on Alcaraz is building. All eyes will now be on Alcaraz, how he makes a comeback. With the French Open just some months away, Alcaraz would be hoping to change his fortunes. But will it be easy? Will the Spaniard show the same determination like he did in the past?
As the world feels the shock of wars, India stands as a beacon of strength. The Firstpost Defence Summit 2024 will showcase cutting-edge technologies, forging partnerships between industry, academia and research organizations. Witness the transformative story of India's defence sector. Firstpost Defence Summit 2024.